Hey friends, it's Ashley, your pet content creator coach. You're in for a treat because in this video, I'm going through 7 specific ways that you can earn more money as a pet content creator. And honestly, this is gold information that we talk through in both one-on-one coaching and through the online program. So if you want to learn more about those and go more in depth, you can find that info in the description and the comments below. But let's go ahead and get started. Now, I'm going to admit the biggest reason why people come to me, aside from wanting to grow and have more views and more following, is simply because they want to make more money. Now, I get it. Honestly, that's kind of the reason why I love coaching so much, is because I've been able to see people go from earning very little or nothing to literally replacing their full-time income as a pet content creator. Like, it's pretty freaking cool. The very first tip I want to go through, it may be for some of you a little basic, but I swear, it's about every single week that I have to tell someone to do this. So please just do this today if you don't already. And that literally is, you need to be more accessible. So if you are planning for user-generated content, UGC brand opportunities, or you're trying to do brand collaborations, how are people going to find you? I highly recommend not relying on direct messages, on DMs. And that is usually because brands mass send out these direct messages. And with emails, it takes more time and it's a lot more personalized and the communication is a lot better. So with that said, I need you today, if you haven't already, go to your bio and I need you to go ahead and add your email. Now, don't make it some personal email of your own. Like, take the 5 minutes to go to Gmail and set up a Gmail for your pet account if you haven't already. Now, that may have seemed a little basic, so let's go into the next one. If you do not have a media kit or a rate sheet, this could significantly be impacting your income. And that is because on your rate sheet, this is your portfolio, okay? This is your way to tell and show a brand that you make quality content, that you have historically made some videos that have done very well. And it really just shows a brand what they're gonna get. If you just reach out to brands and say, hey, I wanna make videos for you, like, they need to know what your style of content is like. They need to know they're going to get out of it. Like, it's a two-way thing, really, guys. You cannot just reach out to a brand and just say, I want you to pay me. Like, and the money that we usually talk about, hundreds of dollars, that could be a big risk for a company to spend hundreds of dollars in hopes that your video will help them bring more brand awareness. So again, having that rate sheet, having that media kit, those are ways for you to be able to provide to a brand and almost like provide that little extra boost of professionalism. Plus, you can have that in your link in bio. You can have that on your website if you have a website. Please consider creating one of these before you reach out to brands. Number 3, and this is actually a huge one, and this is one that I dealt with for years. I mean, I swear to you, years. I finally, over the past year and a half, actually got over this. And that is imposter syndrome with your pricing. Now, if you've gone through the Petfluencer Foundations course, you are very well aware of the different pricing that you can charge for each different social media platforms based off of your tier level of how many followers you have. Now, I always say that engagement is very important. So the more engaged followers you have almost counts more than just having a certain number of followers. However, I have been there before where a brand wants to charge $800 and normally I may have been charging $2,400. And I think, oh, that's a really good brand, but am I really worth that $2,400? I don't know. And so it can be really hard. And again, like I said, I've dealt with this personally for years and I've talked through this with so many pet content creators as a coach for them and just saying, you know what? It never hurts to charge higher and then to negotiate down or them say, that's not on our budget. The highest I can do is 500 and say, hey, and normally you were actually used to that 400 to 800 range or something like that. So imposter syndrome, that is so hard to actually overcome. I could sit here and tell you all the time that you're worth it, that you can do it, that the brands are gonna pay those astronomical prices. But in reality, it is actually something that I've personally experienced and seen other creators where you almost gradually improve and gradually increase. So you do a few brand deals maybe at $500 and then you do some at 800, some at 1,000. And then eventually you get confident and your skill and quality continues to improve. And then you charge $1,200 and $1,500, $2,000 again, and then you keep climbing. That's what I was able to do, but understandably for some of you may already have that experience and you may say that's not too important, but for the majority of you who have never made money online in this way, it can be scary. I mean, truly, I've worked with some small creators who are afraid of even asking for $50 for a video. You know, for me, where I have literally done 5-figure brand deals, $50, I'm like, girl, you can do more, trust me. But I understand on that other end, the imposter syndrome is real. But I wanted to divert that into tip number 4. Now, tip number 4 is you have to not be afraid of negotiation. Now, I know so many of you may be afraid of confrontation. And that idea of, you know, a brand says, we don't have the budget for that. Or they may say, whoa, that is way out of our budget, sorry. You need to at least start experimenting with negotiation. I swear to you, in the past 6 years of being a content creator and having worked truly with like hundreds of brands by this point, I will tell you this, it always is worth negotiating. It is always worth negotiating. Now, sometimes, and I get this and I've dealt with this myself, brands will say, you know what, this is our hard limit. We cannot do more than $1,000. Or they may say, you know, of course, something similar like, listen, this is not a paid campaign. We're only doing a gifted campaign. We cannot do this. And sometimes you have to say, okay, or listen, negotiating can be done in so many different ways, okay? It's not just saying, hey, actually, this is my high quality content. This is my history of the type of content that I have created. Here's the projected amount of views and engagement you can have. Even by you saying that and trying to get your price higher, you can always negotiate to get more products. So my favorite thing with pet food brands is to do this. So let's say your price is $1,000 per video and you say, hey, my rate is $1,000. This is what you'll get. And they say, whoa, we can only do $400. Well, if it is something that you really like the brand, you really like their food and product, you can always say something like, okay, well, I'll do 400, but I want a year supply of your food. And guess what? I've done this and it works. So don't be afraid of negotiating, even if they don't come to your price number, because again, you can always potentially negotiate product instead of money. Now, number 5 is going to be a little bit different. Why aren't brands wanting to work with you and why aren't you making more money? Let me tell you, this is probably the number one thing that I notice with content creators. If you have seen some of the Influencer Coach Reacts videos that I make, which is a playlist on this channel where I essentially go through your videos and help give you free tips and just tell you ways to help you become more professional and set up your channel better. So with that, the big thing that I have noticed is inconsistent content. Now imagine you are a brand, you're a company and you have a limited marketing budget, obviously like everyone does, and you're looking for influencers or small content creators to be able to work with so that you can increase your brand awareness. Okay, so with this concept, you need to think, you're looking at content creators and you're doing a quick scroll through their profile to see if they may align with your brand or be able to create the type of content that you want your brand to be associated with. If you as the content creator have really inconsistent content, and when I mean inconsistent, I mean, I'm talking your font, your on-screen text is all over the place. You have a lot of videos that have voiceovers and then you have non-original audios and things are just all over the place. It is not consistent and not predictable. The brand may not want to take the risk to be able to work with you because of the fact that they don't know what they're going to get out of it in the end. So one thing that I like to promote and encourage creators to have is some sort of at least one of your 3 to 5 styles of content, which if you're part of the 6-figure Petfluencer online program, like you know all about the styles of content, your templates, how many to have and all that stuff. But if one of yours is a repetitive series where you have predictable and very similar content, this can help make it so that a brand wants to work with you. And let me give you a really quick example. So on one of my cat channel accounts, I have a video series that I've been doing for 2.5 years. It's not every single video. And in fact, it may be more around every 4 to 5 videos. And all it is a facts video. So it's a voiceover of telling about a fact in relation to something that my cat does. And I will tell you what, not only have I found that style for my channel and my target audience works very well, but because of that, I have actually been able to do numerous brand deals where the brand specifically wants to be a part of that playlist of content. And that's something I want you to have. Now, obviously, I don't want you to just copy what I do because every channel needs to be unique and different. But I want you to take that idea of you can have a unique style of video that a brand says, hey, I align with that. I like how that performs. I want to be a part of that. Number 6 is also kind of in related to the brand deal stuff. And that is that your communication may be way too slow. I have worked, so as a content creator coach, I have been able to talk to many different social media managers with brands and people who work in marketing for companies. I've learned lots of things, but in relation to this, one thing that I've learned that I really want to be able to share with you is that prompt communication is insanely important. Now you'll find in your journey as a pet influencer that a lot of brands are extremely slow with getting back to you. I mean, I swear I've had brands where they may email me and say, hey, are you interested in this collaboration? Or are you interested in this? And I'll say, yeah, cool. And then it's 2 months later that they get back to me. Like, seriously, I've had brands months later, weeks later, where it takes so long for them to get back. Okay. But what I'm saying is your communication must be 24 hours or less. I truly believe that is a very important thing that you need to have as a contract worker. And that is literally when you get an email, promptly respond. And when they want your video drafts, promptly get them done. So it is not good to have a deadline of a video draft needing to be done by May 7th. And it's midnight of May 6th that you're getting that done. I always recommend the moment you have the product, get that video done. I have seen this so worthwhile on my end when I've had communications with different social media managers, asking them what they're looking for. And that is at the top of their list, I tell you. And that again is prompt communication, very quick turnaround, because they have to deal with lots of creators. And that can actually put things behind if they have that 1 or 2 creator that just is taking forever to get their drafts back. And it's the second before and the brand is waiting. Like, it is just of your best interest to get your stuff done fast. And I included that as number 6 because I want to talk you through number 7. Now, this is an extremely important tip. And this is something that I actually, through the 6-figure pet influencer course, where I teach pet content creators how to earn a 6-figure income, like me and like others, through literally being a pet influencer. This tip is extremely important to remember. And that simply is the fact that approximately 60% of brand deals are repeated brand deals. Now, what I mean by that is that let's say you do a brand deal with a company, a business, and they come back to you. It could be a year later, it could be months later, and they want to do another brand deal. 60% of companies, of brand deals, are actually taking creators and doing a second, a third, a fourth. I will tell you this, I have been a part of many brands collaborations that are not the first one. In fact, I love doing brand deals for the second time, for the third, fourth, fifth plus times with a brand, because I now know what their expectations are. I know what their communication style is like. I know whether they're going to be a brand that wants 10 revisions or if they're good with whatever I produce for them. This is really important to consider. So a lot of times once you get that first brand deal, I want you to consider a few things. First, make sure that after the brand deal is done, after you get paid, that you send them some sort of thank you note. It could be through email, or me, I send physical thank you notes. Usually through the invoice, they give you their address. So you can just send a cute little thank you note. I have thank you cards. Okay, I had to go get them real quick, but I have postcards. I have postcards that I write. I have stickers of my cat that I always send. And I just ended up buying these in big bulk like a year or 2 ago. And every time I do a brand deal, I will just send a letter, send a thank you note, thank you, or send them a sticker. And there was this one brand who a year later, they had reached out again. And one of the girls had said, I still have your sticker on my water bottle. And I was like, how amazing is it that this small business Their marketing manager has my cat sticker on her water bottle that she sees every single day. So she is reminded of my channel every day. That's amazing. And imagine over 2 years, how many small brands can literally be thinking of your pet every single day. Now, there are lots of other ways to be able to nurture the relationship between your channel and small businesses, but I'm gonna keep all those extra tips and secrets for the online course program, which again, you can learn about in the description or the caption. But with that said, I hope these 7 tips help you boost over the next 3 to 6 months your monetization, the income that you are receiving as a pet content creator. I have a lot of services that I provide as a pet content creator coach, so just make sure that you go check that out in the comments. And with that said, I'll see y'all in the next video.